half you all have like this middle school grin on your face, like, I can't wait for today. The other half, your face is totally different. You're like, I got to get out of this room so fast. I'm going to fake a bathroom break or something. Anyway, hey, speaking of the room, all right, this is the last call. If you have small kids in the room, Bay Shore Kids is open. We have great volunteers. If you have middle schoolers, right through those next steps room, or right through those doors through the next steps room. Are we good? Are we safe? Is it just us? Okay, hit it, Jess.
Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's get it on.
Baby, give me that. And let me give you that.
It's getting hot in here. So hot.
I'm bringing sexy back.
Yeah.
Who's nervous? Who's uncomfortable right now? Can you imagine how I feel, okay? My parents and my in-laws watch every message I preach, okay? So, hi, Ted and Teresa. Turn off your TV right now. But listen, I feel super uncomfortable sometimes because, like, I told my wife this week, I was like, I'm gonna do the full talk. I'm gonna talk about the whole sex thing. It's gonna be my second full sex talk we ever did in church. And she was like, what stories are you gonna tell? She said, I'm involved here. I was like, all the stories, babe. Just like buckle up, all right? So anyway, 2.5 years ago, I preached my first ever message, like full sex talk called The Birds and the Bees. And this is no lie, okay? It was at the time the most shared and watched YouTube video we ever put out. Butch and Amy, who come to our church, they shared it to their entire contact list. And I was like, of all the things I want our church to be known for, like, this is my legacy, okay? But I'm basically just going to redo that talk from 2.5 years ago because how many sex talks is a pastor supposed to have in his repertoire? Okay, I got one, all right? And so this is it. And so everybody say the birds and the bees.
Birds and bees.
Okay, that wasn't good, all right? This time, say it like you're not scared to death. Everybody say the birds and the bees.
Birds and the bees.
That's what I'm talking about. Okay, speaking of talking, I got a question. I'm curious, who here's ever, and I mean ever. Now, I know some of you are like, we're talking, what are you going to ask me? Okay, like, just, who here's ever gotten the birds and the bees talk from a parent or a guardian? Who got the talk? Let me see your hands. Okay, I'm sorry. I've been there. We'll put you on the prayer list, Ed. Listen, I got the birds and the bees talk in the 80s from my mother in our living room. And listen, after 32 years, I still can't get the words out of my head. Like, the word pictures she used are just seared into my brain, all right? And it's really my fault. And the reason it's my fault is because when I was a kid, my favorite book series was Curious George. Anybody like Curious George? Anybody remember Curious George? I read Curious George every single day. One small problem with that. Curious George turned me into Curious Joel. And so when my mom was giving us the birds and the bees talk, I curiously asked every sex question any 8-year-old could possibly ask. I think I asked questions to my mother that have never been asked by anybody else in the world ever, okay? And my mom, Lord help her, she gave it her best, okay? And she was just trying to describe things to us. And every question led to another question, okay? And my brother, he was sitting next to me. It's so funny to me. He didn't say a word. Complete silence, okay? And I'm sorry, Tim, because I just kept on asking questions. But the only thing my brother said at one point when Mom was describing things, my brother said, Joel, quit asking questions. I cannot unhear the things our mother is saying right now, okay? But I had some questions. The problem is my kids right now are the exact same ages that me and my brother were when we got the birds and the birds and the bees talk. And apparently curiosity is genetic. Because my kids for the last year, there hasn't been a week that's gone by when they're like, Dad, tell us how babies are really made. We know you know. You're gonna tell us, okay? And up until this point, we just said, kids, God puts little babies in mommy's little bellies. But the other day, I looked at Nora, and she just looked at me like she just had this question in her mind. I'm like, nope, this is not going to be good. And she's like, Dad, I know like God put me in mommy's belly, but were you there when this happened? Did you see anything? And I'm looking at Stacy, and she's like, no. And I'm like, well, I was there, I did see some things. Lord have mercy. Okay, I need like the water bottle. Like, and we've not really given them the full talk. Like Stacy has said to me, she's like, listen, you tell them, Joel, you're the pastor. I'm like, I'll quit. I'll sell Mountain Dew on the street corner. Like, that's what I'll do. And so a few weeks ago, Stacy went on Amazon and she bought this Christian preteen kit. And so we're going to give them a DVD. The DVD is going to tell them how the birds and the bees happen, okay? And our kids know that we have this kit, and they know the answer to babies is in the kit. And so every single day, they're like, Daddy, can we watch the videos? And my boy Nixon, this is verbatim. He's like, Daddy, I need to learn about puberty. Tell me about the puberty. And I'm like, what do you know about puberty? And he's like, well, it's when, you grow hair and stuff. And I'm like, well, listen, I don't have hair, so I don't know anything about it. Ask your mother, okay? But here's why we're talking about the birds and the bees. Because everyone's talking about sex. Listen, or at least thinking about sex. I mean, it's in every song people are singing. It's on all the magazine covers over here at the Giant if you're in the checkout line. It's on all the Netflix shows, I haven't seen that show Too Hot to Handle, but I'm pretty sure by the thumbnail that I know what that show's about. You know what I'm saying? And apparently it's on the internet, and my mom and my kids are talking about it. This is really funny. The other day, Nixon got off the school bus, and he said, Daddy, I see a naked Little Mermaid on my way to school every day. I was like, what in the world is he talking about? I had zero idea what he's talking about. A few days later, we're driving down the road, and my 8-year-old's in the back seat of the car. He's like, Daddy, there's a naked Little Mermaid. And I look, and in this guy's front yard, sure enough, a full-on naked mermaid statue. So I'm trying to cover up Nixon's eyes in the back seat, and he's like, yeah, I look at her every day. I'm like, well, don't look. And he said, I can't help it. I just look. And I look. And I'm like, Lord, help us, okay? You're going to wear a blindfold to school, But sex is everywhere. And so question for you. If culture is going to shout about it, and if the church stays silent on it, then who does that give the loudest voice to sex to, God or culture? Culture. And call me crazy, but I think since sex was God's idea, he invented it, can I get a woo-woo and a toot-toot? Anyway, but call me crazy, but I think since God invented it, the church should talk about it. And so, God made sex to be fruitful and multiply. Yeah, but good news. Real good news. He also made it for fun. Some brave person say, it's fun. It's fun? It's fun. It's always a man, okay, who said it. And so, buckle up, Buttercup. I got 3 ideas for you today, all right? So we'll put these on the screen, and the first one is this. God-honoring sex starts way before the bedroom. And all the ladies are like, yeah. And all the guys are like, huh? What? I'm not even sure what that means. So let me explain it this way. In our house, I have a problem. And it's my fault, okay? I'm the one to blame. And the problem is I'm addicted to tacos, people. Taco addicted. Anybody addicted to tacos? Anybody love tacos? Come on, somebody. We should go to Celebrate Recovery on Thursday night, okay? For a taco addiction. And then afterwards, we'll go out and get some tacos or something. I don't know. But I love tacos. In our house, if we had a theme song, all right, this would be our theme song. Go ahead and roll it, Jess.
It's raining tacos from out of the sky. Tacos, no need to ask
The words are here, people. You can
Just
sing.
open your mouth and close your eyes.
It's raining tacos. All right, that's enough. That's going to be stuck in your head for the rest of the day, people. But I love tacos. I love any kind of tacos. Chicken tacos, beef tacos, steak tacos, all the tacos. I'm into them. But my favorite taco is pretty fitting because my favorite kind of tacos is tacos al pastor. Now, I know you're supposed to say like tacos al pastor, but I'm from Gumboro. It is tacos al pastor for this pastor. And listen, that charred pork and the pineapple. Oh my goodness. And my wife makes the greatest tacos al pastor this side of Gumboro. Okay, like she just does them up. And so 2 weeks ago, she started making tacos for our family, tacos al pastor. And so in the morning, she used our crock pot. This is our crock pot. And she put the ingredients in. She put the pork in. She, put this on low. She slow cooked the tacos all day long. And that night, she took the pork. She put it in the oven and broiled it so that the tips were like crunchy. I will speak some Spanish right now, okay? And so we had tacos al pastor on Saturday, okay? And then after church on Sunday, I just got done pastoring. I went home, and guess what your pastor wanted to have for lunch? The perfect post-pastoring meal. And so Stacy's like, well, just put it in here to warm it up. But I didn't want to put it in the crock pot to warm it up because that would take too much what? Time. I needed it to be raining tacos right then. And so I put it on a plate, and I put it in my microwave here, and I hit this button start 2 times, which adds 30 seconds, 1 minute, and go ahead and hit it, Jess. It's raining tacos. Okay, that's enough. By the way, shouldn't we just go eat tacos right now? Is anybody hungry right now? We'll just quit this talk and just go eat some tacos. But my point is, there's 2 different ways to heat something up. You have the crock pot approach, and then you have the microwave approach. Now, when it comes to making love, men, we are microwaves. And ladies, you all are crock pots, right? Listen, men, we're good to go anywhere, anytime, anyhow. Okay, all we need is, ladies hit a button, any button, it works, okay? And man, isn't it true we can turn any comment our wives say into a sexual comment? Isn't that true? Like if she's like, hey, would you pass me the napkins for my tacos? We're like, I'll pass you the napkins. Any comment, like we can just turn it, all right? Because men, we are microwaves. Ladies, you're not like that. Okay, there's got to be, all this thought put into it, and all the ingredients got to go in, and you got to slow cook, and you got to feel beautiful and cared for and loved, and you got to feel safe, and it's got to be the 3rd Wednesday of the 7th month, and there's got to be a lunar eclipse out and a full lunar eclipse, not just one of those partial ones. Which, men, that takes time and effort. And ladies, all the ladies say, because I'm a crock pot. Okay. Now, the crock pot approach is actually biblical. We've been looking at, one man said, like, darn it. What about the microwave approach? We've been looking at the Bible's rom-com, which is Song of Songs, and chapter 4 is the spiciest chapter in the entire Bible of anything, okay? And so that's where we are today, and most theologians think what is happening is this is Solomon and his wife's wedding night, what they're describing, okay? And so guys, I want you to just notice how Solomon is slow and he makes sure she knows she's beautiful and cared for and loved. He doesn't just say, I'll pass you the napkins, okay? So let's look at Song of Songs, chapter 4, starting in verse 1. This is what he says to his bride on their wedding night. You are beautiful, my darling, beautiful beyond words. Your eyes are like doves behind your veil, because she's wearing a wedding veil. This is her wedding day. Your hair falls in waves like a flock of goats winding down the slopes of Gilead. Your teeth are as white as sheep, recently shorn and freshly washed. In other words, you use Listerine. Your smile is flawless, and this is my favorite line. Each tooth has its twin. Not one of them is alone. Like, you got all your teeth, girl. Not missing a one. Your lips are like scarlet ribbon. Your mouth is inviting. Your cheeks are like rosy pomegranates behind your veil. Your neck is as beautiful as the Tower of David, jeweled with the shields of 1,000 heroes. Men, this is the crockpot approach. Can you see it? I mean, he's showing her that she's loved. He's making her feel loved. Way before there's any talk of any love making. Okay, now why would he do that? Because this is Solomon, the Bible's officially figurehead, known as the wisest man who ever lived. And so, take notes. This guy knows what he's talking about. So men, you got to show your wives love way before there's any talk of making love. This is the way. Now, I'm going to be really practical with this, okay? So I'm going to give you the crock pot recipe, and we'll put this on the screen because, men, we know you need visual aid, okay? So the first ingredient to put in here is to compliment your lady. And be specific, okay? Like Solomon said, like, you got all your teeth, girl. Maybe not that line, okay? But ingredient number one, compliment your lady. The crock pot is heating up, okay? The second ingredient is do something practical for her. Empty the dishwasher. Fold the laundry. Hose the pollen off her garden gnomes. I don't know. But just do something practical. And you're starting to heat the crock pot up a little more. The next one would be this. Ask her about her day. Now, this is important. Pay attention to her answer. Focus. Like she is giving you the football score, okay? And then last but not least, and we'll put this on the screen, flush the toilet, man. Fire emoji. Put the lid down. Is that what you said? Yeah. Put the lid down. The seat. Well, seat, lid. I mean, yeah, not lid. The seat. That's an important difference. Anyway. But now, listen. You put all the ingredients in. The tacos El Pastor are ready. They're ready, baby. They are ready to go. Because, men, if you want to improve the physical romance, you got to improve the emotional and practical romance first. Okay, so husbands, this is for the husbands. Okay, this is the question to ask your wives when you get home from church today. Okay, are you ready? You guys look like you're ready to take some notes. Okay, this is the question to ask your lady. All right, put this on the screen. Honey, baby cake's perfect teeth. What ingredients can I put in the love crock pot? Number one, because I love you. And number two, to help heat things up. Now, ladies, all you have to do is answer the question. Okay, don't be like, well, that's for you to figure out. Listen, you don't want us to figure it out. If you leave this question, the answer to this question up to us, we're going to think it means us getting out of the shower and being like, woo! Okay, like you don't answer the question, please, ladies. And men, we're simple, okay? And so, listen, all men, let's flip it. Ladies, men, all we want to know is that we are wanted out of desire and not out of duty. That's it. We want to know that you are a willing participant and not that we're not like a sexual obligation. And so I'll tell you this story, and I got full permission from my wife to tell this story. I tell you that I got full permission from her because sometimes I don't. And then I get in trouble when I get home. All right, so this is not one of those days. So I think we have a picture of our wedding day. We'll put it on the screen. This is our wedding day and our wedding moment, actually. And by the way, how I tricked Stacy into marrying me is my greatest act in life, okay? And so 16 years ago, I tricked Stacy into this little thing called the lifelong commitment of marriage. And this is our wedding ceremony, obviously, but we did the whole thing before the ceremony where we didn't see each other, like that tradition. We didn't see each other that day. And so before the wedding, me and my groomsmen were all stuffed in this back room of the church. And so like my buddy Andy was in the back room, and Bo, who was up here, was in the back room. My brother was in that back room with me. And Stacy ended up sending in a wedding gift for our wedding day to the room that I was in. And Stacy, for our wedding, gave me a $400 surfing wetsuit. $400 wetsuit. Now, I got her a gift too. A $50 watch, Fossil watch. Listen, I didn't know there was a budget, okay? Like, I didn't know. Anyway, I don't have that wetsuit anymore, so I can't show you that. But I can show you the note that Stacy gave me with the wedding gift, because I have carried it around with me everywhere I've gone for the last 16 years in my wallet. And I can't read you the whole note, because if you see on the front, it says, "Your eyes only." And if I read you what's inside of here, you will leave the church, okay? It is hotter than a Nicoboli in here. So, anyway, but I can read you the last thing she wrote in this note with her permission, okay? And I'm going to try to get through this, but this is what she wrote. P.S. Can't wait for tonight.
Yo, baby.
Can't wait for tonight. I was like, we just got to get the ceremony started right now. And here's why I was so excited, because if you know me and Stacy's story, we waited until our wedding night for the bounce, chicka, wow, wow. Because we believe that's what God says to do, the way sex is best in marriage, which means that most of the time when we were dating, I actually would wear that full wetsuit on our dates. Just, to keep things on track. But after 24 years of life, when I saw Can't Wait for Tonight, there's a song that went through my head. Here's a song that went through my head.
He's going the distance. He's going for speed. She's all alone in a time of need.
Listen, I thought, I'm going the distance. And talking about speed, I sped out of the reception so fast to get to our hotel room that my Honda Accord has never gone that fast, ever, ever, ever. But I was so excited because she was into what we were about to get into. Because men, we are microwaves. We just want to know that we are wanted out of desire, not out of duty. And ladies, you're crock pots. You want to feel loved and beautiful and cared for and safe first, because God-honoring sex starts way before the bedroom, okay? All right, second point is this, and we'll put it on the screen. God-honoring sex is passionate. Now, go back to Solomon, and on his wedding night, he's talking about his bride, and he starts out by saying her eyes are beautiful, and then her teeth. He's really into teeth, this Solomon guy. Then he talks about her neck. What's Solomon doing? He is working his way down. Everybody say, buckle up, buttercup. Okay, listen, don't get offended. I'm just going to read the Bible. This is God's holy word. Amen. Thank you, Brother Bob. Verse 5, your breasts are like two fawns, twin fawns of a gazelle grazing among the lilies. So, the last time I gave this talk, at this point, I was like, I'd spent days trying to figure out, how do I describe this verse? Like, do I do a deep dive on gazelles? And in a last-ditch effort last time, I just looked up gazelles on YouTube. And I then just showed a video, and I'm going to show the same video now, and I'm going to let this video do all the talking for what we just read. Okay, so just roll the video. We good? Everybody got it? Okay, I'm going to move on because I can't do anything with that, okay? Some of you are like, I wish I sent my middle schooler into that classroom you were talking about. Let me do a side point because I can't even get into all that. Have you noticed that Solomon is only complimenting his person physically and not criticizing? Did you notice that? Okay, this is a big, important point, okay? Always, every single time, no exceptions, compliment your person physically, and never, ever, under any circumstances do you criticize them physically. I don't care how many Taco Tuesdays they've had. Okay? I don't care what gravity has done to the twin fawns. Maybe they're the twin falls. I don't know, but don't say it. Always compliment your bride. Everybody got it? Now, Solomon, he's talking about gazelles and breasts, and you would think it's not going to get any better. But it gets better. Okay, verse 6. He says, before the dawn breezes blow and the night shadows flee, in other words, until daybreak, I will hurry to the mountain of myrrh and to the hill of frankincense. Now, what is Solomon saying? I don't know, but it sounds great. No, what Solomon is saying is, I want you all night long. Is that Lionel Richie? Is that who that is? Yeah, he's like, whew. Anybody, Bing, you want to borrow this? No, you're good. Okay. Listen, can you tell it's spicy and passion? Can you see the passion? And I just want to say this. When your relationship is new and you're in the honeymoon phase and you just get married, listen, passion is easy. Well, then you get a little age on you. You get some kids. You might get that arthritis. And now you're tired. Maybe you get a headache, okay? And here's what I want to tell you. When love is new, passion is natural. When love isn't new, you have to plan your passion. Like Stacy and I, we try to take one kidless vacation a year. And a lot of times we go to this place in Mexico where our room overlooks the Pacific Ocean. And we have a balcony with a hot tub on the balcony. Lord have mercy. And what happens in Mexico? Not always. That's how my daughter got here. But plan your passion. And so married people, what do? Okay, listen, plan a kidless vacation. Or get a babysitter and go on a date. Or, cook in and light some candles. This is something my dad said in a message recently. He said, pour a glass of wine and duct tape your kids and throw them in the closet. I've never wanted to unhear something my father has said ever before like that comment. But sometimes life is so crazy, if you don't plan the passion, there will be no passion. And so this week, if you're married, I want you to get your calendar out, and I want you to put some things on the calendar, okay? Sunday fun day. Monday morning madness. 2 for Tuesday. Wow Wow Wednesday. Listen, if you don't stop me, I'll keep going. Throw down Thursday. Freaky Friday. And if you get through the whole week, you're going to need a Sabbath Saturday. Okay, that's what you're going to need, okay? Because God-honoring sex is passionate, even if it's planned. Second thing, God-honoring sex is starts way before the bedroom. And then the last idea is God-honoring sex is a God-given gift when done at the right time. Is everybody good? Just going to check in on you. You good? Can we lower the temperature in here for anybody? Okay. Listen, is anybody just surprised that the Bible talks so graphically about this stuff? Is anybody surprised? No? Okay, good. Some of you are like, I've never been more excited to go read my Bible. I'm going to read the whole thing today. I don't know if you know this, but the Bible is the first piece of literature that we know of that talks about sex like this. Like every piece of literature before this talks about it very practically and very like it's to procreate. And then you got Solomon coming along. He's talking about gazelles and all night long and all this stuff. And it makes us realize like God invented sex to be passionate and to be enjoyed. Now, that's helpful to me because when I grew up thinking when it comes to sex is bad. Okay? And when it comes to sex and drugs, just say no. And if you could only choose between one of those, just say no to sex and do drugs, okay? Like, it was just that bad. I went to this Christian school. Anybody grow up going to Christian school? Okay, great experience at Christian school, but also super weird. So the middle school, when I was in middle school, every Wednesday was Chapel Wednesday. And that's the day you not only wore your Bugle Boy khakis and your penny loafers, but we also had to wear a tie for chapel. And so all the guys in my class, we'd be like all lined up in the pew in chapel, and we'd all be wearing our clip-on ties. And they'd always get a really, really old lady to give the message at chapel. And when I say old, I mean like 127 years old. Like walker, IV bag, wore those originals in every pocket. And she would just kind of like make her way up to the podium. And the message was, sex is bad. When it comes to sex, God says, no, 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 no. And then the next week, it would just be another little old lady, different lady, same 127 years old, same walker. And the little lady would be like, sex is bad. God says, no, 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 no. And like, us middle schoolers, we're like, wow. I mean, these old ladies must know. I mean, they got wisdom. So the unintended message was, sex is from the devil. And so, like, that's just kind of what we believed until I one time read chapter 4 of Song of Songs. And when I read chapter 4 of Song of Songs, I was like, well, this lady didn't tell us about this chapter. Like, why did she leave this out? Because it's pretty clear that God invented sex. And so, listen, if you're married, here's God's message on sex. Nike, just do it. Procreate. Recreate. Have fun, okay? Don't rob your spouse of the gift of it, okay? And if you're not married, all right, the message isn't, no, it's bad, bad, bad. The message is, hey, it's my gift, but it's best when you wait for marriage. Now, let me show you how this shows up in this story. So if this is what King Solomon says to his bride in verse 12. He says, you are a garden, what? Locked up. My bride, you are a what? Spring enclosed, a what? A sealed fountain. And then this is what she says. Awake, north wind. Rise up, south wind. Blow on my garden and spread its fragrance all around. Come into your garden, my love. Taste its finest fruits. Parents, we will never use this as a memory verse in Bay Shore Kids. Okay, I promise. And I'm not even going to tell you what this second part means because I promise Stacy I wouldn't. Okay, so, but what is he saying up front? Or what he's saying is that she's a virgin. Like she has saved herself for marriage because that is God's perfect plan. Now, I know when I say that, everybody gets a heart attack. Like, what do you think this is, 1600s, Joel? What did you, churn your own butter this morning? Did you ride a horse and buggy to church? Is it upstairs right now? Like, listen, I get it. I know I sound like I'm from 1624, not 2024, but I don't think it matters what year it is. God's truth stands forever. And so, listen, marriage is holy. Marriage isn't some contract so you can get a better tax rate. Marriage is a covenant between you and a holy God where you're saying, God, I trust your plans for my passion more than I trust my plans for my passion. And so, listen, in God's perfect world, God's plans for sex is for us to wait and enjoy its full potential in marriage because sex is best in marriage according to the wisest man who ever lived. Now, I know the vast majority of us are like, well, I messed that up 20 years ago. Maybe you're sitting next to your boyfriend or girlfriend, you're like, well, we messed that up last night, okay? Listen, I want to end by telling you a story because, spoiler alert, nobody's perfect in this area. And we are not the guilt church. We are the thank God for his grace church. So, I thought the perfect way to end a message like this is to tell you about how our robot vacuum ran over my dog's doo-doo this week. Now, some of you are like, that is inappropriate. Have you heard the rest of this message? Okay, so, but earlier this week, my daughter Nora, she FaceTimed me from our kitchen. I'm like, what are you doing? What? And she's like, Dad, we got a problem, Dad. And I'm like, what's the problem? And she flipped the camera, and that's when I saw my kitchen table, my dining room rug. And the best way I can describe what I saw is like, it's like a Tootsie Roll factory got hit by a tornado, okay? So it was just, and so I ran out to see what was going on. And my two dogs are just sitting there, and my robot vacuum's kind of sitting there. And they're looking at me like, we know, we messed up, we're sorry. And I thought, it's done. I mean, there's no fixing this. I literally called Stacy at work. I was like, how much you like that kitchen rug? Because I'm throwing it out. I'm selling the dogs. Actually, I'm going to sell our house. The whole house is gone. And she said I was overreacting. I was like, listen, you have never seen so much poop smear in your life. And she's like, don't tell me that. I have seen more than you have ever seen. I'm like, okay, got it. And Stacy encouraged me to give it a shot. And so, in my proudest husband moment, all right, because I was like, okay, I'll reset. I'll give it a go as long as I find the medical gloves in the house. Okay, so I put medical gloves on. And listen, after only about 797 dry heaves and one wet heave, I cleaned that carpet like I was working for Stanley Steamer, buddy. And so Stacy came home after 8 hours of work. She walked in and she was like, oh my goodness, it looks amazing. It looks brand new. And she hugged me and I'm like, yeah. And she said, you smell like poop. I said, you're going to need to pay me more than a compliment for what I have been through today, which she did, praise the Lord. Anyway, I thought it was too late. Throw the rug away. It's no good. There's no fixing this, okay? And I just had to hit the reset button and start somewhere. And so, are you ready for this? To conclude this message? Okay. No matter how much sex that's happened outside your marriage, outside of God's plan, God hasn't given up hope on you. He just wants you to hit the sexual reset button and start somewhere. Everybody say, hit the button. Hit the button. Listen, if you need a sexual healing, hit the sexual reset button. Okay, no matter how much you messed up, even if it was this morning, hit the button, reset, repent, hit the button, okay? And so, listen, if you and your person, your boyfriend or girlfriend have been, you're a bunch of jackrabbits, spring rabbits right now, hit the button. If you're married, but you had a lot of Freaky Fridays before you got married, you're feeling kind of bad, listen, just say, Jesus, we're sorry, and hit the button. If you're shacking up with somebody you're not married to right now, hit the button to Realtor.com and find a new place to rent. And if your boyfriend is trying to get fresh with you later today on the couch, hit the button. Hit it twice and hit him the third time, okay? Because listen, nobody is perfect in this area, but God's grace is always perfect. And when we fall short, we can always hit the reset button because of God's grace. And I think our culture could use a reset button on this. Because our culture says sex isn't sacred. It's for anyone, anywhere, anytime. Who cares? It's not a big deal. And God's like, no. I know it's sacred because I invented it. And in marriage, I want you to have fun, procreate, recreate, ovens and microwaves and all that. And if you're not married yet, his message is just wait. Because sex is best in marriage. Are we good? Okay. I've never been more thankful to end a message before in my life. And I'm not going to give you an action step because I think it's pretty clear. So let me pray for you guys. Jesus, the Bible is surprisingly relevant and practical. And so, God, I just know that this lands in a lot of different places because we have people in the room who are single and married and divorced and, single again. And this lands in all different places. But, God, I just pray for those of us who this impacts, Lord, that we'll just zoom out and kind of look at your plan and see how we can apply that to our life. And, God, I pray for the younger people in the room specifically right now. They're being hit with everything from every angle, more than any other generation in the history of the world. And so, God, I pray you'll give them strength I pray that you'll give them focus. I pray that you'll give them the passion to follow you and not just their desires, God. And Lord, I pray that they'll know that on the other side of this, they'll be glad that they did. And also that there's grace for those times that we've messed up, we've come into here with a lot of baggage, Lord. And so we're grateful that you cover it all. In Jesus' name. And everybody said, amen. Amen.